What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the newest episode of the Believe in Oregon podcast. I'm Zachary Neal. He's Jonathan Stewart. Jay Stu, what's up, man? How we doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. We had it was a bit of an interesting game on Saturday night. Ugly game, an atmospheric river in Autzen Stadium. I was there. I can confirm it was wet and cold and windy.
Yeah.
21-7 was your final. I think it was just kind of a slog. What do you think from watching it?
From watching it, man, it looked like Autzen Stadium in full effect.
Yeah.
It looked like the elements were very much so a factor in this game,
Mhm.
and you had to at least have one dimension of the game working for you if you had a chance, and running the ball was that dimension.
Yeah. I think so, yeah. So what were your kind of I came on late on Saturday night, kind of gave some of my instant takeaways. It was a late like midnight Pacific show for me, so I told you I was not going to call you up and wake you up, see if you wanted to come on. So just kind of your instant takeaways from the entire game as a whole. What went right, what went wrong?
Well, I mean, just starting with the weather, right? Rain in Eugene, it didn't just test the guys that had cleats on. It tested their toughness. I think the tougher team ended up winning that game. Uh, wet field can change the game, but when you're a quarterback having to deal with the slippery, wet ball, that's something that you have to plan for, and everybody knows. Everybody has a plan until you get hit in the mouth. And in this case, I think weather is the element that both teams had to go up against, and it hit one team in the mouth harder than the other. Um, Obviously, I think for fans to understand the magnitude in which um, uh, it matters to be able to win in different ways. um, it matters because this was a game where I think Wisconsin coming in, we just talked about it briefly, them being you know, a good run stop defense. I think they came in with that confidence and thinking to themselves with the weather, as long as we stop the run, we should be okay. And that out the gate was definitely their game plan. I Will Stein, when it came to the passing game, he relied heavily on the screen game. We had some explosive plays here with that, and it did go in our favor. But we just sometimes got stagnant, right? Stalling drives, and I think you have that type of game when you have these elements. It's not an excuse, right? But you have to take it into consideration for games like these, right? It's Wisconsin. They're not that good, and all the things you're telling yourself throughout the week, but also telling yourself don't think about those things, right? You want to keep it, honest, and you want to respect the team that you're playing against. But I think they handled the adversity that they did experience early in this game. Pointless first quarter, staying with it, and they figured out, okay, what we do know we can do, we can run the ball. Let's shift it. Let's shift things around here. Let's bring our freshman Jordan Davison into the game. And when he came into the game, it was just a different gear. It was a different
Mhm.
attitude. It was a different matchup. It was a running back that was built for these type of conditions. And so having the plethora of running backs we can choose from every game is a huge for Oregon's success, and they have the upper hand when they go into a lot of these games.
Yeah, I think this is a game that Wisconsin was kind of built. I wouldn't say like keep it close, but they were kind of built to at least have a little bit of success in this game because, like we said, their defense, what they're good at, is against the run. They had, I think, it was the number 14 run defense in the nation. They held teams to under 100 yards per game on the ground, and with that weather, like it just wasn't going to be a game where you're throwing the ball downfield. You could see on
Mm-mm.
the TV, like I watched the film back yesterday, you could see on some of those throws, even like 10, 15-yard throws over the middle, the ball curved in the air because it was
Yeah.
so windy. Like this was not a game like everyone harks on Stein for all the screen passes. I get it. Like it gets old sometimes, but sitting on your couch, you don't know all of the information that Stein has, and he knows that if you're trying to throw it 10 yards down the field, you got to put some real zip on it to get it where it's
Yeah.
trying to go. So, um, yeah, I think that Oregon did well making adjustments at a halftime, coming out in the second half and running the ball as much as they did, having as much success as they did. The offensive line really stepped it up in the third quarter. All in all, I think there's some positives to take away from that game for sure. Definitely some frustration, but I think the frustration is born more out of the elements and what they had to do because of those elements.
Yeah, there's no style points here,
No,
for the
not at all.
scoreboard.
Even
But I
with the tie
think,
dye.
but yeah, but I think, yeah, styling and profiling with the tie dye uniforms, no style points for the scoreboard though. But I will say this: Oregon found a way to win through the rain, injuries, with Dante Moore, and we can say I think we can finally say that we played an elite Wisconsin front, in my opinion. If they are good at stopping the run, and they've been known to be a team that can do that. I mean, they played Ohio State, and they've been able to they kept them in check, in the ground game. Now, they had nicer weather, I guess. Drier weather where they were able to throw the
Couldn't be
ball.
worse.
It could have been worse for Ohio State. Who knows? And so I think
No,
this
could
is
not have been worse weather for that game, I'm sure.
yeah. um, and so I take that by saying, Dante Moore goes down. Brock Thomas steps up. I mean, he led a touchdown drive that ended with an offensive lineman getting some love, right? That's called trust and preparation. So I look at the details of a game in an environment that is hectic, but you still are seeing the operation, of trust and preparation coming through the game calls, and what Will Stein is dialing up, and having your backup being able to take on trick plays basically
Mhm.
in crucial moments of the game. That speaks volumes to the way this coaching staff continues to show up, but more importantly, these players. The defense anchored down, and played a really sound football game. I'm sure there's some things out there that they wish they can get back. But when it came down to third down, they delivered.
Yeah.
They delivered, more than none, right? So, I think what three third down efficient was what three, they got three first down,
Let's
three
see.
conversions.
Third downs. They were 3 for 11 on third down.
Yeah, so having, going into a game like this where it's messy, it's wet, and you're the home team,
Mhm.
the expectation is to get the guys off the field, right?
Yeah.
And they did that pretty well.
I went back and I looked at just the Ohio State versus Wisconsin stats. Ohio State ran for 98 yards against
Mm,
Wisconsin, and
yeah.
Oregon ran for 203. So I know it's not a 1-to-1 comparison. It's a lot of different. Ohio State held them to 0 points. Oregon allowed them to score their first points in 2 years. So it's not a perfect comparison, but yes, that is something like I think valuable to look at. It's like, okay, Oregon was able to find success at the one thing that Wisconsin's really good at. So that's definitely a positive to take away. I want to get into take and bake. I don't know what you have from this weekend, but I just kind of found myself feeling that this team, I think, is really good at making us and me in particular look and feel dumb. I think that, we are already in a position where we put ourselves out there. We give public predictions and opinions every week. That's really tough to do when you have no idea what this team is going to look like each and every week. I mean, they just look very different. That's kind of what you get when you have a young team, but they're lacking some consistency in terms of style and ways of playing every game this year. It started out dominant against bad teams. It's great. So the
Hmm.
start that you expected. They looked poised and like championship contenders on the road versus Penn State. Fantastic. We were flying high after that game. They really struggled against Indiana, a really good Indiana team. It's like, okay, that's fine. Then they looked like world beaters again on the road against Rutgers, 750 yards, 56 points. It was all amazing again. Now, this is, I think, as bad as we've seen them look all year against a really putrid Wisconsin team outside of their run defense. Everything else, every other unit of that team, I think is subpar. And they didn't look good. I mean, 26 yards of offense midway through the second quarter, no points in the first half until there was a minute left going into halftime. I mean, what are we supposed to make of this team? I consider both of us pretty knowledgeable about football. I think that we're relatively smart individuals in this aspect, at least. Outside of this, who knows? But um, I have no idea what to make of this team anymore going into each week. They could win the championship at their best. This team is really, really good. They also could be a 9-3 team. I would not be. I'd be surprised, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities for this team to lose two of their next four games,
Yeah.
three of their next four games. Anything is on the table with this team. It's kind of tough for us to do our jobs because I don't know. We kind of need to see a quarter of football before we really understand where this game is going to go, what this team's going to look like.
Yeah, I'm with you on that because the offensive line is what, gives me some concern, right?
They're so hot and
Um,
cold.
they're hot and cold. And yeah, we knew they were playing a good defensive front, right? But if you're gonna be national champions, you have to be able to not blink. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You have to be able to take on the nation's best and keep it moving and not miss a step. Once you show that you can get beat, other teams are going to try it, and
Mhm.
now you're just opening yourself up to more challenges. And I
Mhm.
think you know that's what we are more frustrated with when it comes to the Oregon football team is, week in and week out, they show different issues. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
dang, I thought we got past that. Or,
Yeah.
oh man, I thought our offensive line was one of the best in the nation. Are they a little bit overrated? Have they played anyone? Is this like, and then you look back at the competition that we, celebrated, Penn State. There's not much to celebrate there anymore at all, right?
Yeah.
So now it kind of gets you scratching your head, like, uh, with the talent that we've played against, are we as good as what we think we are, right? Now, I do believe that they are a talented team. I think
I
they
think so too.
do have national champion contending uh, features to them, but I want to be able to see them attack more. I mean, you look at special teams. I'm pretty sure Kenyon was over there screaming at the TV, watching the punt returners receive these kicks, and there's got to be an attack mode about it, right? You
Yeah.
gotta you gotta be like you know, I imagine what the mindset and the heart of a returner and just a guy that's gonna of any of your playmakers should be one of like a Doberman pitcher behind a fenced cage, and he's just barking and
Just let him
drooling,
loose.
wanting to get out, right?
Mhm.
Jordan Davison screams that to me. De'Ara
Mhm.
Hill screams that to me. The guys that you know, uh, I mean, another take and bake here. Where's De'Ara Hill? I want to see
It's
him.
a good question.
I want to see him sooner in the
He
game
had two
because
rushes in this game.
yeah, I want to see him implemented into this game sooner. I think about the screen game. If you want to dial up screens, he's the perfect guy that you can have in space. I love what you're doing with the tight ends. I love what you're creating for Decorian, and getting him opportunities. But De'Ara Hill is a special talent as well, and we're not doing ourselves any favors by keeping him on the sideline.
Yeah, I agree. That was a very interesting. We've always been calling, or we for the past few weeks been calling on them to pare the running back group down a little bit instead of going 5 or 6 deep, go 2 or 3 deep,
Yeah.
and they did that this game. I mean, Jordan Davison had the most carries of any running back in Oregon this year, 16 carries for I think 102 yards. Noah
Yeah.
Whittington had the second most carries of any Oregon running back this year with 14 carries for 97 yards. Then you had De'Aaron in there with 2 rushes. I don't think. Let me check real quick. No other running back got a touch. Jay Harris didn't play. Dewan Riggs was in a boot, so he's out for a little bit. Jaden Lamar still out for a little bit. So yeah, it's interesting. We'll talk more about the running back room a little bit later when we get to our special game for this episode. But I actually want to transition and talk about the backup quarterback position because once again, this is a topic. It was a topic last week after the Rutgers game. With Brock Thomas coming in as the backup, in that I think it was 56-3 at that point. So it was like, all right, would they do that in a close game? Like is going to be Brock Thomas or Austin Novosad or Luke Moga in a game that's close that they really need to have some great QB play out there. It didn't take long for us to learn that the answer is yes, because early third quarter, Dante Moore goes out of this game. He's bleeding from his face. We didn't know he got hit in the nose, I think, and had some sort of bloody nose. 7-0, and Brock Thomas comes out, and he's the guy. Credit to him. I think he played well. Led 2 scoring drives, went 4 for 4 for 46 yards and a touchdown. Got them the win, which is the most important thing. But I still have thoughts and maybe some concerns or just questions, I guess I would say. How do you feel about the whole situation?
I mean, I thought he played pretty good, man. He came in there, threw the pill around, made his completions. He did his job as a backup, but he's a backup.
He
So
also put the ball in jeopardy a little bit. I mean, I think 2 of those completions
yeah,
very easily could
very
have been
easily could have been
interceptions.
interceptions. But hey, he's a backup, and my expectation is that if we don't get Dante Moore back, we are in trouble because he's our starter. You very seldom have in college football, unless you're Alabama back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
you have starters sitting on the bench, right? Do I think Brock Thomas is going to be a good quarterback? I think he's going to be a good quarterback for Oregon in the future, given the opportunity. Now, if something bad happened to Dante Moore, which I hope, knock on wood, doesn't, besides what just transpired this past game, I hope it doesn't come down to the fact that we do have to play a Brock Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needs time to develop, because we know what comes with development, right? But it'd be interesting to see if we are in that situation again. Does Brock Thomas get the start? Does Austin Novosad come back? I don't know what that whole ordeal is going to be like, but clearly, the powers to be feel confident in Brock.
Yeah, I'm curious. It's worth saying that it sounds like Dante's going to be fine.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it a little bit more. We got an injury segment coming up, but he should play against Iowa. I've got no concerns about that. I would be very curious to see. I don't know how fluid this backup quarterback situation is, and what I mean by that is like they clearly needed a game manager quarterback to come into this game. If they were playing USC and they knew that they needed 21 to 28 more points from their offense to win the game. I wonder if Brock is the guy, or if they bring in someone like Luke or someone like Austin. They came into this game knowing that they're up 7-0. They could probably win that game 14-7, 14-0. They needed maybe one more touchdown, and they were already in scoring position. Maybe that led them to be like, okay, we'll bring Brock in. He can get the job done, kind of run the clock out. I wonder if going into each game they say, hey, it's going to be Brock no matter what, or let's see where we're at. Let's see what the game calls for. And then maybe it's Brock, maybe it's Austin, maybe it's Luke. I don't know. If we asked, Dan would never tell us. So it's kind of a moot point, but that's something I found myself thinking about the past couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, it's just it's weird. I don't know. Let's talk about some injury news though. News came. Well, let's start with Dante Moore. Like I just said, he had I thought his nose might have been broken. There was a lot of blood
Yeah,
coming
he
out.
was leaking, boy.
He spent 17 minutes in the injury tent I clocked it afterwards. Like, that's a long time to spend in the medical tent on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Came out with his helmet on. Looked like he could go back in the game, but quickly put one of the big puffy jackets on, and it was like, all right, I think he's done for the day. Um, Dan said after the game that if they needed him to, if they wanted to push him, he could have come back in. They thought that, but I think that he will be fine for the Iowa game. More notably, well, maybe not more notably, but notably, Evan Stewart, I think, is close to a return.
Mm-hmm.
Thought he was going to be the wide receiver one coming into this year. Suffered that torn patellar tendon in June, I believe it was. Had surgery. I'm told that he could be back as soon as the Minnesota game, which is week 12. That's the game after Iowa. Um, but really optimistic that he returns for the USC game and the Washington game, and then is here throughout the postseason. So when you hear that, what do you think? I saw your eyes light up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, just it's perfect timing, right? Because now you
Mhm.
bring in another weapon that has familiarity with this offense, knows what this offense is supposed to do and how it's supposed to tick, and has the experience um, in that receiving core. Uh, and I think that just brings another level of confidence to that receiving core. You know, having a guy out there running routes and executing the way he's supposed to just opens everything else up for the rest of the guys. So um, I'm not sure, you know, how you want to put him back into the fold. Do you just
Mhm.
drop him in without a
Totally.
parachute? Um, or do you kind of, you know, bleed this in slowly?
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how they ramp that up. Like, is he immediately getting 30, 40 snaps a game? Does he need a couple of games with 10, 15 snaps? So be curious to
Yeah.
see that. But he is, I mean, just like before his injury, the thought of him and Dante together got a
Yeah.
lot of fans going because like he's that speedy deep threat, can get you over the top. Dante's got that arm to go downfield that I don't think Dylan Gabriel really had. So
Yeah.
just the thought of him returning and them kind of coming into form, hoping to peak in late November, and now you get Evan Stewart back. Hopefully, that's
Hmm.
interesting. That'll be
Yeah.
definitely keep tabs on that.
If you're a defense facing Oregon and you're thinking to yourself, basically USC and UW, and you hear the news of Evan Stewart coming back, okay, well now we have to go dig up some film to basically remind ourselves what he was doing last year.
Go look at that Ohio State game, not the
Yeah,
Rose Bowl, the regular
the
season
regular
Ohio
season
State
one.
game. That was a
Yeah.
fun Evan Stewart game. We also, for the first time, saw Braden Platt, your guy, come back for warm-ups in this game. He didn't play in the game. I don't believe. I should not check the snap counts yet, but he did not. I'm pretty sure did not play in this game. But it appears that he is close to returning at least. We'll talk to Dan later this week about that. But I think that'd be really big for this linebacker group.
Yeah, I mean, depth at linebacker, I mean, you can never have enough. And just
They
not
don't have
just
much.
body. You don't want to have just bodies. You want to have guys that can actually make an impact. Being
Mhm.
able to process things fast and get to the ball downhill.
Yeah. And we will also ask this week about guys like Trey McNutt, Dylan Gresham. We're kind of getting at that point of the season where they got hurt early season or preseason, but they were said to be able to maybe return. So we're getting to almost November in a few days. So it's like, all right, let's check where they're at.
Hmm.
Um, before we go any further, I want to tell you guys about our new sponsor, Backer. You can see I'm wearing my Backer hoodie right now. They are a
Nice.
local outerwear company founded by an Oregon alum that Jay Stu and I have had the pleasure of working with recently. The stuff's incredible. I saw a lot of Backer gear at the game on Saturday because
Nice.
it was wet. People were
Water
wearing
just
their dry
rolling down
stuff.
people's backs.
Yeah, it was
Nice.
looking good. So,
Shout out to
um,
Back for keeping everybody nice and warm and dry. Maybe not warm.
absolutely.
Maybe it
Well,
is
there's
warm.
some insulated stuff. It's good stuff.
Oh, good.
Um, I've got my cool jacket on right now. I wear it a couple times a week as long as my kids don't get it dirty. I know you understand, but
Are you
um,
like me with your kids when they're like messy? I'm just like, get away from me. You
I'm not.
sit over
I
there. Get away
unfortunately
from me.
I don't have that that luxury. I got a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, man. They're always messy. If I'm gonna say
Listen,
get away from me, that's gonna I'm not gonna touch them for all day.
well, listen. They learn real quick. Hey, go wash your hands. Had
Okay,
to wash
yeah.
my hands. Da, da, da. What? Go wash your hands.
If you want to get in on this backer stuff, go to backer.com. That's bckr.com. Use the promo code BELIEVE10 at checkout for free expedited shipping and now 10% off of your purchase. Again, that's bckr.com. Promo code BELIEVE10, BLEAV10. Free shipping and 10% off of your order. This stuff is great. You're not going to want to miss out on this product. All right, I want to try something new for this week, for this bye-week episode. As I mentioned earlier, we've seen a lot of good and a little bit of bad from this team. I'd say, I wouldn't say a lot of bad, but some bad from this team so far. I'm curious. Let's see if we can build the perfect Oregon team. In the spirit of Halloween, call it Frankenstein's duck, whatever you want to call it. We're going to pick 3 things that we would change about this team and 3 things that we would like to keep the same. Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you could change one thing about this team, one of your 3 things, what would you change?
Oh, okay. If I can change anything about this offense or just the team in general, what'd you say?
Team in general. Yeah. If you could change anything about this team, make it better, just change things, what would you do? You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
I would get them an adequate kicking game. I want them to make field goals
Yeah.
regularly. Like just no question, 40-yard, 45-yard field goal. Go out there and have confidence that it's going to go through the uprights. It's just
Okay.
first thing I'd change. I feel like it's pretty simple.
Okay. Man, I would grab a tall, big receiver. Just tall, just a big body.
Yeah. Little
I
red
like
zone threat.
a nice big body, like Keon Coleman, from Florida State back like a couple years ago. Yeah, just a bigger body, like a Franklin. How about that?
They had that with Kyler Casper, but he did not see the field much and then ended up getting hurt a couple weeks ago, had surgery on his foot, so he's out for the year. They thought they had that going into this year. It just didn't quite pan out.
Yeah. It'd just be nice to just, throw one up and know that it's going to be contested just because the guy is freakishly he's just taller than everybody.
What's
and he's
nice
not a
is,
tight end, right?
well, next year they've got 6'7" tight end, 5-star tight end, Kendra Harrison coming in. So
Well, there
you
it
might
is.
get your wish.
I might get my wish.
He's
Tall
going to be that
targets.
guy. Yeah, tall targets, just throw up, back shoulder fade in the end zone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where it comes in the red zone. You got a
Absolutely.
big old target. You watched the game last night. Pittsburgh has DK Metcalf, and basically he ran a post up route, which was a 3-yard slant, but it was a post up route because you just throw it to him in the area and he's going to catch it.
Yeah.
He's taller than everybody.
Yeah, you like that. That's a very easy part of the offense to get in there. All right, my next change. I would change the offensive tackles in pass protection. I think they're just getting beat a little bit too much. Isaiah World did not have a very good game this past game. I mean, he let up a sack, I think, on the first drive. Just got beat. I mean, he was laid off the ball. I don't know if he didn't hear the snap count or what. It wasn't Oregon's on offense in Austin, so it's not like it was loud. But I think the offensive line has been solid. I think they have been getting. I mean, they've played really well against bad competition, and then they've struggled a little bit against good competition against like Indiana, Wisconsin's defensive line. I think they just need to improve a little bit in pass protection specifically. Run blocking, I think, is great. I think they're doing a very good job there, but pass pro, they can be a little bit better.
Yeah. I would pair Bryce Betcher with a very elite linebacker.
Okay. Yep.
A guy that I would leave Bryce as the green dot, the guy that's putting everybody in position, calling defense. I'll leave him there, doing a fantastic job. But I need a dog, just a guy that can do everything. He's a excellent blitzer, can get to the quarterback, but when we're tracking the run, he's adjusting pre-snap. every time, making the right adjustments, getting aligned where he needs to be to execute his assignment and fill the gap. And he fills the gap every time. So you don't have a running back from Wisconsin gashing you for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, my next one was the same thing pretty much. I said I want to change improved linebacker play. I think they just
Hmm.
need to be a little bit better. They need to meet runners in the hole. They just stop getting pushed back like that.
Yeah.
I think they've been fine. Um, I think
Part
they
of
can
that
be a
is
lot
just
better.
part of that with the 3-4, right? Um,
Yeah.
that whole personnel, you're asking, your defensive guys interior to win double gaps, right? They're
Hmm.
they're playing double gaps, and they essentially have to choose a gap and stick to it and commit to it and win that
Hmm.
that one on one. Um, and when that doesn't happen, sometimes you don't get the edge, right? You don't secure the edge, and the linebackers have to be aligned properly to make that angle, commitment to get to your spot, to get to your landmark. Don't chase the ball, get to your landmark,
Hmm.
right? If they're running outside zone, get to your landmark.
Yeah.
The outside, whatever the outside zone landmark is, get to it. Mid
Yeah.
zone, same thing. Um, Gap scheme. Read your keys, right? If guys are
Do
starting
your
to move
job.
in the backfield and pull, you got to meet that guy there and blow him up. Meet the first guy
Hmm.
there that's pulling the kick out, blow him up, and then whoever's coming next for the lead, you got to blow him up too. And then
Yeah.
that should expose the running back, enough to where somebody can get a hit on him before
Yeah.
he gets going, right? Um, it's the little things that you see in games like this, um, where we sit back and say, we can't allow this to happen now. Like, I'm glad this happened now, but will we be able to learn from it and will it stick? Right?
Yeah.
Especially coming off of this bye week, right? I don't know what they got to do to make sure these boys are locked in because we don't want to have another mishap. Because God forbid, they come back and they play Iowa and it's a rainy day.
Yeah.
If it's a rainy day, there's no excuses. You've already had a rainy day. You got to be able to
They at
play
least
in the
know how to
rain.
play in it. But
Yeah.
yeah, Oregon. I mean, if Iowa does anything well, it's run the ball. I mean, they've got not a great offense, but really not a great passing offense, but they are solid rushing the ball. Oregon has the
Hmm.
number 33 run defense in the nation. They allow 124 yards per game. So they're not bad. I mean,
But
they're above average.
guess who's number 9 in run defense?
Who's that? Iowa?
Iowa.
What's Iowa's rushing offense though? That's what I want to see. Rushing offense, rushing yards per game. Great podcasting, looking stuff up. I'm sorry
Oh,
for the
this is
list.
great. No, listeners
Okay.
need to know. We don't know all this off the dome. We don't
Iowa
know all
only
this.
has the number 49 rushing offense. That's actually worse than I thought it would be. But still, I mean, if they're going to do anything offensively, which they don't do much, it's going to be running the ball. So if you're going to have success on them, you got to stop the run. I mean, because I'm not worried about
Yeah.
stopping the pass. One, because Oregon's pass defense is incredible, and two, because they can't throw the ball.
Well, they rush. They're pretty balanced at home and away. Typically
Okay.
you see
Splits, yeah.
a split there. They're rushing for 167 yards home and away average.
Okay.
So they're pretty consistent. So
Well, and
consistency something to look at there.
their quarterback Mark Gronowski is very good with his feet. He's got 11 rushing touchdowns this year already.
Yeah.
And Oregon has sometimes struggled against rushing quarterbacks. So
Hmm.
uh, before we get positive, is there anything else that you would want to change about this team?
No, man, I wouldn't change anything really. I mean, but if we
Not
had
change, just
a
slight
genie and
improvements.
we're like
Yeah.
living in this fantasy world, that would be cool. But I think we are a pretty solid team. I just think,
Yeah.
given the
Number 6 in the nation.
situations,
This is all nitpicking.
yeah, when we need to be at our best, can we be at our best when we
Yeah.
need to be, right? And it needs to become the standard. It doesn't need to be oh, we'll show up next week. The defense has us this week. The offense has us this week. Special teams, be special. Like, we need this to be the identity needs to be, shame on us for not performing well in the first quarter.
Mhm.
Shame on us for not performing on our first drive, right? You should take offense to it. And I think that's where they have to get as a unit. And I'm sure the Dan, he's preaching that, right? Take ownership. At some point the team takes ownership and it becomes a player led situation. When you have that, that's when you actually have championship caliber.
I talked about this on Saturday night. The first drive thing has become a thing. We talked about it a lot last year that Oregon had a third quarter problem. Remember, they couldn't score in the third quarter
Yeah.
for whatever reason. They cannot get off to a good start, a hot start this season. This week, turnover on downs on their first drive after getting the onside kick, which is incredible. If you told anyone after that onside kick that it was going to be 0-0 with like 2 minutes left in the first half, they'd be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So turnover on downs. Last week against Rutgers, the like maybe the only bad drive of the game was their first drive where they fumbled it. Before that, against Indiana, turnover on downs. Before that, against Penn State, a punt. You'd have to go all the way back
Yeah.
to week 4 against Oregon State in early September to see them score points on their first drive of the game.
If Evan Stewart comes back by Iowa, you know what I'm doing all the next 2 weeks? I'm
What's
talking
that?
and pumping up this run game. I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, hey, look, offensive line, we are going to run the ball the first 2 plays. These are the first 2 plays.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that way you have it ingrained in your head. We're going to start practice off this way. We're going to start practice off with these 2 plays every single practice.
Mm-hmm.
These are the 2 plays we're going to run against Iowa. So when we get out there, it's going to be up to you guys up front for us to move the chains. You know what we're going to be doing. We're going to give you all the looks. Boom, boom. Right? Get in the game. Dante Moore. All right. If you see this look, this is the check.
Forget what we
Play
said.
action. Play action. Play action.
Yeah,
Just play action. Evan Stewart. Welcome back.
that'd be fun. That'd be
Touchdown.
fun.
Okay. That's got to be the identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is our preparation. We're going to do this. We dictate what we want to do. Nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
And, because that's how Chip Kelly was.
Really?
Chip Kelly was like, hey, we were running inside zone, Jonathan. And
That's
we're
it.
going to do it different ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Dennis, make the right decision.
Yeah. If it
We're
ain't
going to
broke,
run
we'll
these.
fix
We're going to run it 3 times in a row.
Uh-huh.
Start the game. And if they give us a different look, these are the checks.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right, what would we keep the same? I'm going to start out. The thing I would keep the same is the defensive secondary, man. That is
Mm-hmm.
as good as I've seen it in recent memory in Eugene. These cornerbacks are incredible. The safeties between Dylan Thieneman and Aaron Flowers, incredible. Jaden Kennedy at star, incredible. No notes.
No
I'm not
notes
changing
there.
a thing with this secondary.
I'm not changing the running back room as it is right now.
That was
I
my next one.
I would keep those guys in the 3 Musketeers is what we're gonna call
Mm-hmm.
them.
Yep.
Okay, Noah Whittington, Jordan Davison, and De'Ara Hill Jr.
Yep.
Okay, the 3 Musketeers. These guys are they're your playmakers. When things are
Good work,
not
man.
going well, give them the ball so that way something can go in their favor. Okay. Um, Jordan Davison is a total package.
God, he's so
He is
good.
going to be a first round draft pick. He might
Ooh,
be a top
calling it
5
now.
draft pick.
Wow. For running backs, that never
Yes,
happens. Who was
it's
the
gonna
last one to
happen.
go first? Top 5. Was it Bijan?
Yeah, Bijan maybe.
And then probably Saquon.
Let me see. Let's look it up.
Jameer Gibbs didn't go that early, I don't think, did he?
Uh,
The only ones I could. Oh, Ashton Genty. Or was he number 6?
oh yeah, he was. Yeah, he was a
Or was
top
he 4?
10. He was top 10.
He was top 10 for sure. Yeah, Ashton Genty, Bijan. I don't think Jameer Gibbs went that early. I think he was in the teens, and then probably Saquon.
Ashton Jeanty and Saquon Barkley.
Okay, yeah. So you're putting Jordan Davison up with them. All right,
Yeah, he's a freshman, dog. He got so
calling your
much.
shot.
Listen, he got so much work to do. It's crazy,
He's
and he's
good.
already good.
Yeah, he is. He's already good. Yeah, it's. I was thinking about this earlier. It's so funny how you and I have a tendency to glom onto running backs early, and we have changed our mind like 3 times this year as to who the best running back is. Going into the year was Dewan Riggs. Quickly, it changed to Deer Hill, and now it's like, oh, Jordan Davison, man, this guy's really good.
Well, it's because that's what we're getting, and we're getting
Yeah, we're not
introduced.
wrong.
We're
Yeah,
getting introduced to different guys stepping up every week,
yeah.
and the
We're
numbers
good at
being called
adapting.
differently. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
really
we
and truly,
adapt.
it's always been Jordan Davison and De'Ara Hill. As
Yeah,
far as like the guys that the future is, it's those guys. Noah
yeah,
Whittington is now. We were not sure. We were surprised by that. I think when it came to
yeah.
um, Hughes being labeled
Well, oh,
the
for sure.
preseason All American, we didn't know what to think, and so here we are.
Yeah,
Good problems to have.
I'm still surprised by the Dewan Riggs thing. Like I mean, I talked to Kenyon a few weeks ago. You talk to him all the time, but he was saying, the most talented back in that room is Dewan Riggs. Jeff Schwartz is the most talented back in that room is Dewan Riggs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what's not clicking for him to get there, whether it's a consistency thing, what he's now injured, of course, too. But that's one thing that going back in time to
Maybe it's ball
August or
security.
July, could be. Yeah. I don't know. There's several factors, I'm sure, but I thought that he would have more of a role here than he has right now. Um, we got off the rails a little bit. Anything else that you would keep the same? I've got one more, but curious what you've got.
Uh, Tight ends. I
Yep.
keep that the same. I'm
hmm
pretty happy with those guys in that room. So
Part of me wants a little bit more production and opportunity for Kenyon. I don't feel like he's getting a ton of targets. I mean, he had 2 targets, 1 catch for 6 yards this last week. Of course, it was raining,
I
but
think it's
he's
too intentional of how we bring him into the game.
yeah,
Right? It's like the special design screens. It's the special shuffle pass. It's a reverse. Like, no, put him up there and line him up like you would do, Kincaid and Knox and tight ends like
Bowers.
that, Josh Allen type tight ends,
hmm
and
I
give
think
him opportunities like that.
I think one of the problems is like he's just too good at blocking. Like they just want to
Yeah,
use him blocking so much. It's like, and I don't
yeah,
blame him.
yeah. But I think a lot of this has to do with the play calling in weather, right?
Yeah,
He's
it
thinking to
does.
himself, "Let's not turn the ball over.
hmm
If we don't turn the ball over, we win the game." And that was the difference, really, in this game. If you look
Yeah,
at it, we didn't turn the ball over. They
yeah,
did twice,
yeah.
right? Twice.
At least
Um,
once, I think twice. Yeah,
and so, as an offensive coordinator, you have a duty to not have drastic changes in the game, led by turnovers. And when it's wet out there, like you said, if you're going to throw it downfield, you got to have some zip on the ball. And if you don't have confidence in those elements, then you have to stick to what you know. And he
yeah.
knows screens really well.
That whole offense, they know screens really well. Last thing I wouldn't change, Dante Moore. I think he's been really. I think when he's good, he's been really good. He's been great. There's been like this was another game. Obviously, weather played a big factor, but then going back to Indiana, he struggled a little bit. He gets happy feet sometimes in the pocket, takes his eyes from downfield. I think it's turning out that he's much more of a rhythm quarterback than we thought he'd be. He really needs to get a couple of passes downfield to start feeling it and then sort of get in that rhythm and start playing and playing to his potential. But
Hmm.
If he struggles early in the game, then it's you got to get him out of it, which
Another
is
way,
fine. I think he's a young quarterback, but yeah.
another way to give a quarterback like that rhythm is just to get him running, right? Call
Yeah.
some design runs. Like again, if we're gonna make it, like I really
That
truly
scares
believe
me.
that our our offense is designed to ground and pound.
Yeah,
Period. That's what we are. We have a quarterback that's talented as all get out that can throw any ball, but that doesn't mean that needs to be our identity.
yeah,
I think you help him by introducing him to contact a little bit earlier in the game. Hey, this is your first time getting hit. You inflicting the pain. You bringing, the run and the fight to the defense. Like, and you have help. You have an offensive line. You have blockers in front of you. So utilize that out the gate, just to shake up the rhythm sometimes, right? And I think it would also be unexpected for a defense to face that. uh but that, to me, there's different ways, to your point, of waking a guy up and getting him some gel early in the game.
yeah. But running Dante just scares me a little bit. Like
Hey,
we
look, he's a football player. He better get used
I
to it.
know,
And
I
he's
know, but
got
we
wheels. If
also
you gonna get to the league, guess what? You gonna get hit. So you're either going to be the enforcer or the other guy.
yeah.
Enforce
But
it.
now that we have these questions about Oregon's backup quarterback situation, I'm just a little bit more nervous. And we've just seen Dante get hit quite a bit this year, so
Yeah.
I don't know, a little bit hesitant there. I know you're right. I'm agreeing with you. I think
All
that
the
is correct.
quarterbacks, all the Oregon quarterbacks before him did what?
Most of them, yeah, ran the ball.
Ain't no most. They all ran.
Herbert
Okay.
didn't run until the last game of his career. And then it was like, all right, he can run.
Yeah, had
I
the
think
ability to.
he
They
did
just
have the
didn't draw.
ability.
They just didn't. If they would have did it sooner, they would have probably been national contenders.
I think that's very true. Um, Real quick, I want to look at the FanDuel odds just for this team. Again, our show brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Dante Moore's Heisman odds have plummeted after this game. I mean, he had no touchdowns. I think he had 86 yards passing. Again, we'll say it for the millionth time this year. Weather played a factor, but he is plus 5,500 to win the Heisman. That's behind guys like Jeremiah Smith, Haynes King, Gunnar Stockton, Diego Pavia, Jeremiah Love. Like, he's kind of out of it until further notice. Like if they announce the Heisman finalist tomorrow, he's not making it to New York. Definitely
Hmm.
not. So he needs a couple of big games to end it, to end the season. I think he definitely can and get back up there, but um, that's also not what this team cares about. They would love to have a third straight year with the Heisman finalists, but they are more interested in these next odds, the national championship odds, which have also dropped for Oregon a little bit. They are now plus 1,100. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, tied for seventh highest in the nation behind Ohio State, Indiana, Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame, and Texas A&M. So um, I think the public is, I don't know if I would say like sleeping on or down on Oregon right now, but um, not as high on them after what's happened to Penn State after the Indiana game. So
Yeah.
if you still believe in this team, it's a good time to go get that price. I don't know
Yeah.
that you'll see it this low again if it's going to actually happen. If it's going to happen, they're going to keep winning. If they're going to keep winning, that's going to go up. So if you're a betting man, Jay Stu and I are, this might be a good time to go find those odds.
Yeah. Zach's a betting man. I'm not a betting man. That's
That's
irresponsible.
that's not true. I think you bet more than I do. I rarely bet anymore. I'm not much of a betting
No,
man.
I'm joking.
All right. Once again, before we close out the show, we're gonna go to our Oregon trivia segment, Quack Facts, where I try and stump Jay Stu with a Ducks trivia question. Are you ready?
Hmm.
All right. This one has some local ties, so I'm serious if you'll get it. Or I'm curious if you'll get it. Brock Thomas, who played for the Ducks on Saturday, a noted Sheldon High School graduate from here in Eugene. The most notable Sheldon player in Oregon Ducks history is obviously Justin Herbert. How many total quarterbacks from Sheldon have played at Oregon, including Brock and Justin?
Jeez. I don't know. Quarterbacks?
Mhm.
3.
Oh, 4.
Oh,
Close. It was
who were they?
Brock Thomas, Justin Herbert, Taylor Ali, and then Chris Miller.
Don't know the other 2. Sorry, fellas.
Chris Miller was an NFL player. He played for the Falcons. He was before your time. All right. Well, Sheldon High School to Oregon.
Shout out to Sheldon
Pipeline.
High School, man. Are they good this year?
I don't know. They were our biggest rivals when I went to South Eugene, and they always killed us because they were actually a good football school, and we were not. So,
Yeah.
It's
Well,
all right.
you
Water under the
stumped
bridge.
me.
Yeah, I stumped you. All right, let's wrap it up there. We are hoping to come back later this week with a very special guest. So be on the lookout for that. We'll let you know if that's happening. Other than that, though, we're going to return next week as usual for the Iowa preview. Just you got anything before we get out of here?
Nope. Just stay dry and wear your backer gear if you want to stay dry.
There you go. Nice little plug in there. Get that last one in. All right, you can check out more of my work at duckswire.usatoday.com. Follow me at Zachary C. Neal on Twitter. Follow Jay Stu on Twitter at Jonathan Stu R1, and make sure to check out all of his stuff there. For myself, Zach Neal, for my co-host Jonathan Stewart, we'll talk to you guys next week. Until then, take it easy.